shot, get an offensive foul.
McDonald inbound.
Oh my.
Dellavedova knocks it away for the win. From halfway, Tasmania have done it. The island.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever get old.
And the Jack Jumpers, in their third season, are NBL champions.
Coming into season 3, it was all a little bit of an unknown. We saw new recruits into the team and some much-loved imports leave the club.
Crawford too good, he's got 16.
I'm super excited. I've heard nothing but great things about everybody.
Jordan Crawford was the maybe highlight signing, an American point guard, of course, whose claim to fame was he would be the smallest player in the competition.
Blows a kiss to somebody. Relocates to the corner and hits the three.
I got God on my side.
So Jordan Crawford's faith is a big part of his life and a big part of his basketball journey, and he referenced that after Game 5. He knew that the man upstairs was with him. The game was, of course, played on Easter Sunday.
Crawford from long range.
He had his ups and downs, of course, during the season before exploding in Game 5 with that 32-point effort to help the Jack Jumpers to a championship.
And you can't leave Quinn Steindl open there.
Quinn Steindl, I think, played his role to perfection this year. He's the captain of the team. He's not in the starting 5. He's more a player that comes off the bench, gives you some quality minutes, knocks down 1 or 2 3-pointers.
Steindl pulls the trigger, knocks down the three.
His real value lies in being the culture guy, being the guy in the locker room, being the guy that sets the standards, being the guy that arrives at training first and leaves last. So he has his own special place in the history of Tasmanian basketball now.
Here's Anthony Drimic to start things up against his former team.
One of the other recruits this season was Anthony Drimic, a really good friend of Jack McVeigh.
Drimic knocks another one down.
He too was brought in for his offensive prowess.
Drimic joins in the party.
A really good shooter from outside the perimeter.
Marcus Lee.
The energy is unbelievable.
Beautiful move from Lee.
And then there was Marcus Lee in that second import position.
Doing it beautifully.
He had his troubles early in the year, kept getting into foul trouble and not maybe playing the minutes that Scott Roth needed from him to have an impact on the floor. But once he started to figure things out and started to build that connection with Milton Doyle in particular, getting on the end of some of those lobs and some of those catches, that's where he really began to flourish.
Just setting the table as Magnay finishes strong.
Around the middle of this season, things really started to click for Will Magnay.
Magnay swats that out of here.
He started to show why there was so much stock put in him by Scott Roth all the way back in year 1.
Hands off to Magnay.
And when he was able to play bulk minutes and not get into foul trouble, he was one of the most devastating players on the team and in the league.
Sean McDonald stepping back and connecting again.
Sean McDonald, still a development player with the Jack Jumpers, but the evolution of his game throughout the season as well was one of the highlights of the year, and ended up starting in a Game 5 deciding championship game, which was a really bold move from the coaching staff.
McDonald outside again. Sean McDonald, you just can't leave him out there.
His shooting performance in particular this year was off the charts, and he was able to create his own shots and score the basketball this year in a way that we haven't seen before.
Red hot. McDonald whips it out to Krislovic, who needed that.
Krislovic is almost indicative of the entire Jack Jumpers setup. He's a glue guy, he's a culture guy, he does the little things, he's all heart.
Pass from McDonald, pick and pop, Krislovic.
He is able to get out there, make really big hustle plays, and he stretches the floor as well. He can shoot it at 30 or 40% at times, and he nailed a couple of big ones, including in Game 5 when the game was on the line. He drained a really big 3 to help shift the momentum for Tasmania.
Ding. Damon's man. Needs it to fall.
Juk Deng's performance in that game to score 15 points off the bench was one of the great performances in Jack Jumpers history, and really set the tone for the rest of the series.
Foul. Scores.
He labelled himself as the forgotten one after that game. In a lot of ways, he was. He was out of the rotation. He was out doing his rehab, but when he came back and got his chance, he made some big free throws and made some other big plays as well. So, huge contributor to the championship this season.
Doyle takes it inside, and now he's on the ball.
Milton Doyle had another excellent season.
Here's Doyle from downtown.
He had a little bit of a slump, but that coincided with a family tragedy. His father, back in America, passed away. He had to go back to Chicago and attend the funeral. He only actually missed one game as a result of all of that, which is almost hard to believe. He came back to Hobart, worked through his slump, and his back end of the season was really, really strong.
That's as sweet as you get.
His IQ and court vision is off the charts. He's probably the Jack Jumpers' most talented player. He's probably their best player.
That's a good way to start for Tasmania.
Some of the moments where he decides to take a game by the scruff of the neck and put the team on his shoulders, that's when the Jack Jumpers are at their best, when they clear things out and let Milton Doyle go to work, because, yeah, he was awesome this season.
Doyle, catch and shoot, and fires. Doyle kept it in.
Well, it was the most important shot of the season, and maybe of the Jack Jumpers' existence.
Here's the Jack Jumpers' chance. McVeigh, 2 on the clock. Oh, McVeigh.
It just cannot be overstated how important that shot was, how improbable it was. I think everybody knew when Jack made that shot that Tasmania weren't laying down in this series, and that it was on. For everything to have gone right, to force the turnover, firstly, from the inbounds pass, for Milton Doyle to keep it in and make the assist, for it to be Jack McVeigh in the right place at the right time to take the catch, and then to make the shot over the outstretched fingertips of Matthew Dellavedova from just in front of halfway, 10,000 to 1 type stuff. It probably is the greatest shot in the history of the NBL.
Tasmania win game 3 and silence Melbourne.
Where do you start with Scott Roth? People told him he was crazy for accepting the job. People told him that he wouldn't be able to unite the state behind a basketball team, but he's done just that. From Smithton to Southport, he's been able to pull Tasmanians together and get them behind this team, not only off the court but on the court. He took a pretty ragtag bunch of players and assembled a championship team.
Together, 1, 2, 3, together.
Tasmania has fallen in love with Scott Roth, and Scott Roth has certainly fallen back in love with Tasmania.
We fought like hell, and we're coming home with the trophy.
One place where the Jack Jumpers do have an advantage over most other teams in the competition is the fan base.
This Tassie crowd is going to blow the roof off my State Bank Arena.
When 5,000 Tasmanians pack into that home arena in Hobart, given the size and the scope and the layout of the arena, the noise that they're able to generate for their team is off the charts. I've never seen a Tasmanian sporting team enjoy this level of celebrity, and I don't think fans from other clubs have the passion for their team in the amount of numbers that Tasmanians do for this team.
And it'll be McVeigh from three-quarter corner.
It's going to be fascinating to see how things play out with the Jack Jumpers going forward into Season 4. They've climbed the mountain already in Season 3. They've put their flag in the top of the peak. Jordan Crawford, we might have thought might not be coming back to the team after a one-year import contract, but 32 points in that Game 5 is going to absolutely raise a few eyebrows and maybe change some minds in the front office. And then further off the court, there's the sale of the club. Larry Kesselman, the owner of the club, has spoken about finding, Tasmanian and local purchasers and maybe carving out a slice for an international owner. The facilities out at the arena, 2,000 or 3,000 more seats, maybe an expansion. I think calls for that are going to grow even louder.
Jack Jumpers a game high. Clipman's
This isn't just a small little new franchise down in Tassie. This is the potential to grow into a juggernaut of Australian basketball. This is a team that is only going to grow, and there are going to have to be considerations made around that in terms of memberships, the size of the arena, and how they're able to really harness the interest, especially now off the back of a championship, which is set to see things explode even further.